Obviously, Benoît, if you do an investment like Antoine, I would expect you to be in control. Same for you, Armen. You would be seeking only control or a path to control, I would expect, in consolidation. What would you recommend to somebody who's not really open to being fully acquired? Would you open to a stake, to a GP stake and a minority stake, or?
Well, but that's a different objective. I mean, there are a number of funds out there that do GP stakes.
Yep.
You could do NAV financing. I mean, if what you're looking for is you're looking for capital at the level of the GP, and you don't have the luxury of having balance sheets like people on this stage, there are ways.
Sure.
There's GP stake, there's NAV financing. You can work on your portfolio. You could do continuation deals. Please come to us. We have a fund that specializes in doing only that. Okay. So there are ways, there are options. Yeah. But that's very different from reaching the strategic conclusion that you're going to be better off as part of a larger platform. True. There's a trade-off. The trade-off is you're losing some of the freedom and some of the, and yes, certainly as far as we're concerned, there has to be a path to control. Otherwise, how do you make it work? How do you put your entire marketing team back on a strategy that you only have a minority position? It just doesn't work. Oh, so yes, but it's a different philosophy, and it's not for everyone. But some people reach the conclusion they're better on their own. Yep. Some reach the conclusion, actually, in this market, there's a point where size matters a lot and where you need to join a larger platform for all the reasons that have been evoked before, which is access to LPs, which is it's easier to weather a more difficult economic period if you have a large balance sheet behind you, and on and on. And there are a lot of synergies. You're creating synergies. I mean, we've all experienced it. The more strategies you have, the more synergies you're creating between the strategies. They just happen. So.
Understood. And I think those elements that you mentioned, like the NAV facilities and working on your portfolio, is the old gardening theory, where you make sure that your garden is producing some good fruits and vegetables, make sure that your investors are pretty happy going forward. Any views on that, Armen, in terms of how a more difficult fundraising environment can be lived through by a GP going forward, or?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what you're looking to invest in. If it's a fund investment, there are plenty of opportunities like credit secondaries, like private equity secondaries, NAV financing. 17 Capital could tell you that they are seeing an incredible increase in both the frequency and size of the transactions that they're contemplating right now. And they are complicated in terms of one deal is not replicated over and over. There is every fund looks different, every GP looks different, their use of the capital is different. So that bespoke nature of the transactions creates some inefficiency and opportunity for those like 17 Capital that have been around for a long time. And with Oaktree as sort of a backstop to larger facilities for them, we collectively are able to speak for very considerable sized transactions for GPs that are looking for either a fund level NAV loan or a GP level facility to accomplish something strategic. And it's a great opportunity in that regard. For Oaktree GP itself, transactions like 17 Capital, we are always willing to consider them, but it's less about control. It is more about synergy with our platform. In the case of 17 Capital, they offer a capital solution that was additive to the capital solutions we provide to the market, and that synergy made sense with or without control of 17 Capital for our GP.
Interesting. Okay. Antoine, view on this?
I think we've been doing both. For instance, we bought Star Infrastructure in the US, and we bought 100%. We just close a deal as well in the US. It's a minority GP stake in healthcare buyouts. So, we've been doing both, but the opportunities are growing, and it's a question of, for us, not so much control or path to control or minority, but more about connecting the dot, cross-selling in terms of fundraising, in terms of deal sourcing, in terms of expertise, and as long as we get the benefit of the three, we can do control or minority, and we've been doing both, and I think we'll keep doing both, and that's how we build this firm.
Okay, great.